Hey there, it's Dr. Bernstein, the president and founder of Get Yourself Into College, and today I want to walk you through a review of an actual student's college application essay. Actually, we're going to be zeroing in on her opening paragraph. I share with you some really valuable strategies and help you make sure that you avoid some common pitfalls, so stay tuned. Okay, I want to start by giving you a little bit of background information on this student. Well, call her Emily, because I think that the information she shares in her email to me is important. She raises important issues, and I think that my feedback on these issues will help you too. And then we'll get into looking at her actual opening paragraph, and I'll give you my specific feedback on it. Start by reading to you some things that she shared with me in her email. So Emily told me that she wants to show admissions officers her situation and how she's grown from it. I'm assuming from that language that she is going to be responding to the Common App essay about failure. This Common App essay topic allows you to recount an incident or time when you experienced failure and to share how it affected you and the lessons you learned from it. In her email, she pointed out that she doesn't want to present admissions officers with a pity story to make them feel bad for her. She pointed out to me that she's trying to explain to admissions officers in her essay that she messed up her grades during her junior year in high school because of her family's move from New York to North Carolina. Let's just stop right there. As I said before, you have to take responsibility for your failure. And that means you cannot place the blame for your weak grades in your junior year of high school on moving. Emily could write about how her attitude or how her perspective on the move caused her to have a hard time during her junior year in high school. She could also focus on how she didn't have the inner resources to handle this transition effectively. So the focus is much more on her than it is on the external situation. Of course, if she decides to use one of these new approaches, what she's going to have to do is really show, not just tell, but actually show how this attitude or perspective or lack of inner resources caused her to experience failure. Maybe she didn't fail in her junior year of high school. Maybe she just didn't live up to her expectations or her potential and just didn't do that well or as well as she could have. And you also don't want to focus just on that weakness, on that failure. You want to show how you've overcome it. So it would be the kind of narrative that starts with a before, a during, and an after. So you'd set up the scene of of the attitude or perspective or lack of inner resources that brought about the failure. Then you want to show a turning point, right? You don't want to just go from the failure to, I had this amazing realization that everything changed after that. That's not really realistic. It's not really convincing. So she'd want to show how, what caused her to start wanting to change her perspective or her attitude or start developing the inner resources she needed to to make an effective transition. So you want to show the turning point, and then you want to show how you worked your way out of the situation and how your life has changed as a result. Because ideally, or at least in most cases, you want to show not just how your perspective changed on that particular situation, but how it is continuing to influence your life. So the last thing that Emily said to me is that she feels like her essay is boring, but she doesn't know what to say to make it interesting. And that's a really common problem. So I think one way of solving this problem is by taking that new perspective on the essay, going from just blaming it on the move to I had a problem with the way I was thinking about the situation, or I didn't have the inner resources to deal with this situation. That's going to make it more exciting. But, honestly, this topic of, I moved and I had a hard time, that in some ways is a pretty cliche type of essay. I understand, I totally get how moving during high school can be traumatic and stressful, but from the perspective of admissions officers, it's kind of a cliche. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't write about it. It's just that you need to find an interesting angle on it. So I think the two options that I suggested, they don't exactly work for her. She could find another way of narrowing down the topic and looking at it from a different viewpoint. So that would make it more interesting. But also, one of the most effective ways of writing an interesting, engaging essay is making sure that you include anecdotes, really vivid, specific, descriptive scenes that take admissions officers behind the scenes in your life, in the external situations and in terms of what's going on in your mind and in your heart. So now let's get into Emily's essay itself. It's actually just a paragraph that she sent me, and we'll go over it in just a moment. She writes, "Moving can impact you in many ways, whether it be for good or bad. In the beginning, moving had a negative impact on me. I moved from New York to North Carolina halfway through high school. This had a huge influence, not only on my social life, but my education as well. It was tremendously difficult to concentrate on school, knowing that I wouldn't be enjoying my last 2 years of high school as much as my friends back home would. As you can see from my transcript, my grades junior year dropped. I was caught up in trying to regain my social life and adapt to the Southern lifestyle. Halfway through second semester of my junior year, I realized that no matter how hard I try to enjoy living in the South, it just isn't for me. I'm a Northern girl and always will be. Once I realized that, I immediately picked myself up and have been nothing but determined to get my grades back on track. Moving has forced me to adapt to different situations and thus made me a stronger and more flexible person. I have pushed past the weakest point in my life and now am on a one-way path towards excellence." Then she includes a quote. "Sometimes life is about the ability to believe in where you are going, even when you're not sure what lies ahead. Anytime I start to question myself as to if I'm going to earn a successful future, I think of that quote. This experience has changed my attitude completely. Moving states has shaped me into a well-rounded person. I've become a very positive person and can find something good in almost anything. I'm not sure what my future is going to look like, but life is about the ability to believe in where you're going. I believe that I will move back to my home state and pursue my dreams." All right, I'm not going to edit any of these sentences, even though they do need editing, because Emily needs to make some big changes to her essay. There are 3 really big problems that I see so far in this essay. The first problem is that basically she takes her whole essay and condenses it into one paragraph. The second big problem is that it's too focused on telling readers things, stating what happened rather than showing it, describing it. So what I said before, you need to give anecdotes to make your experience come alive for admissions officers. The third thing is that after reading this paragraph, I really think Emily might want to change which essay topic she's responding to. I don't really think she should focus on the failure essay. I don't really think that focusing on failure is working to her benefit here, because the way it sounds right now, it sounds like a lot of excuse making. Her transformation seems sort of miraculous, like, oh, all of a sudden I realized this and then my life changed. That's really not compelling, and what admissions officers are looking for in this kind of essay is they want to see, wow, like what tools do you have for handling setbacks, because you're going to experience setbacks in college. So there's no evidence here of skills that she's truly developed through her experience. Now, maybe if she takes one of the approaches I mentioned earlier, she might be able to show how she developed this one particular resource. But that's not what I'm really getting from her essay. What I'm getting most strongly from her essay has to do with this issue of where she feels most content. And if you're completing a college application that's part of a Common App process, then you know there's an essay topic directly related to this. This is the essay topic that asks you to describe a place or environment where you feel perfectly content. They ask you, what do you do or experience there, and why is it meaningful to you? So this approach would allow Emily to avoid almost all that excuse making and that she makes about her grades and how the move caused her to struggle. She could, eventually work in one sentence about how this also caused her to struggle in terms of her grades, but I don't think you should reference your transcript or anything like that. It might be that she wants to focus, at least in a sentence or two, about how being in the wrong kind of environment for herself made it hard for her to concentrate. So a lot of schools are very interested in making sure that you're a good fit for the school, because if you're not a good fit, you might drop out, you might really have a lot of problems. So admissions officers might be thinking about this when they're reading your essay about being content in a certain environment. Just say that Emily is applying to schools in the Northeast. So she is talking about how she wants to come back to the Northeast or be in this specific region in the Northeast would not be a bad thing. It's directly related to why she's applying to these particular schools. So I want to ask Emily to consider maybe changing her focus in this essay and writing about the environment rather than failure. I bet Emily could come up with some really vivid, engaging scenes that would help admissions officers see why she was really content in one environment and why she wasn't really content in another environment. The big thing that you're going to have to do is be very careful about not bashing the other environment. You don't want to try to make the South look bad or make Southerners look bad or vice versa. It's just that this environment is not the right one for you. So she really want to pinpoint what it is about this specific environment in the Northeast that really helped her thrive, that really made her feel content. It's the place that she wants to return to for college, and identify what made this particular environment in North Carolina not an ideal environment for herself. And the way you do this, again, is through anecdotes. You can dive right in. And I think this is a really good strategy for a lot of students and maybe even for Emily. She could plunge readers right into a scene in the beginning of her essay that shows why she was so uncomfortable in one particular environment. And then as she continues to write her essay, describe why she was so content in the New York area, and then why she wants to go to school in this region. One of the things that's going to be really important is that she sets the scene for readers, that she really takes readers behind the scenes in her mind, in terms of her feelings, and in terms of the external situation. You need to find a nice balance between the external and the internal. Think about how novelists draw you into the world of their characters. They don't just state things, they show you, they draw you in through descriptions. And that's what you want to do in this essay. Emily, if you're watching, it's really important that you avoid coming across as rigid, as someone who can't adapt to new situations, because in your draft that you sent me, it sounds like you are rigid. It doesn't sound like you adapted to your new environment, even though you said that you did. There's no evidence of that. So even if you're saying, it's in this one environment, I'm totally content, I thrive. In this other environment, I don't. You're going to have to find a way to make sure that you don't come across as rigid and someone who can't adapt to change, because college is about change. Another thing that I recommend is that Emily avoid just focusing on New York as an environment and North Carolina as an environment. You want to get much more narrow. So like one specific aspect of the New York region where you're from, or of that region in general, one specific aspect of it, and parallel that with one specific aspect of the South. This approach of really zooming in helps you avoid just skating on the surface of your experience. You really, as I keep saying, you really want to take admissions officers deep into your experience. And of course, they're not going to be able to take in the totality of your experience. So don't feel like you have to explain the whole thing. Take them into one really important part of it. That's my advice for now. I hope that you got a lot out of this critique of an actual student's college application essay. You can see how it helps to have someone else help you with your essay. preferably an expert, someone who really understands what admissions officers are looking for and who is actually a good writer and editor. What happens is that sometimes you get really locked into an idea, or once you've written something, you can't see other possibilities for how to approach things. So what happens is that you wind up feeling really frustrated and stuck. Or if you work with someone who's really an expert in helping students with these kind of essays, you can save yourself so much time and so much pain and actually become a better writer in the process. So if you're interested in having me critique your application essay, head over to my website and book one of my college application essay breakthrough sessions.